The BOT2 provides practitioners with several ways to report and interpret individual test results. A score summary report that includes all of the norm-referenced scores for the 8 subtests, 4 motor area composites, and the total motor composite. A graphical profile of motor area standard scores and subtest scale scores. A pairwise comparisons report that features statistical analysis of an individual's strengths and weaknesses. Scale scores, age equivalents, and descriptive categories are the derived scores available for the 8 subtests. Standards scores, percentile ranks, and descriptive categories are available for the 4 motor area composites and the total motor composite. Scale scores and standard scores, like z-scores, describe the score's relative distance from the norm group mean using standard deviation units. The BOT2 scale scores have a mean of 15 and a standard deviation of 5. Standard scores have a mean of 50 and a standard deviation of 10. This figure illustrates the relationship between z-scores, scale scores, and standard scores. For example, a z-score of -1 is equivalent to a standard score of 40 and a scale score of 10. The principal advantage of using these types of scores is that their meaning is always the same, regardless of the test or age group. For this reason, most programs base eligibility on a standard score or z-score scale. For your convenience, Table C14 in Appendix C of the BOT2 manual can be used to convert standard and scale scores to z-scores. The total motor composite and the 4 motor area composites provide highly reliable measures of motor proficiency. Therefore, we recommend that these composite scores be used to determine eligibility for services and to support the diagnosis of motor-related disabilities. Subtest scale scores are best suited for identifying personal strengths and weaknesses and for developing intervention plans. Although standard scores are important for determining eligibility for services, they are not always effective when communicating results to parents or other professionals who are unfamiliar with such scores. This is why the BOT2 also includes age equivalent and percentile rank scores. An age equivalent represents the age at which a particular score corresponds to the 50th percentile of that age group. This graph shows the distribution of manual dexterity raw scores for the 8-year-old females in the norm group. The middle of the distribution, or 50th percentile, corresponds to a raw score of 26. Therefore, the age equivalent for a raw score of 26 is 8 years, 0 months. In other words, an individual with a raw score of 26 is performing at the level of the average 8-year-old female. Through the use of smoothing and interpolation, age equivalents on the BOT2 are reported in 1 to 5 month intervals over a range from 4 years, 0 months through 18 years, 11 months. Providing smaller age units enables a more accurate description of age-based performance. The percentile rank is perhaps the most widely understood norm-referenced score. Like the standard score, the percentile rank represents an individual's relative standing within a particular age group. For example, a percentile rank of 90 for an 8-year-old indicates that 90% of 8-year-olds in the norm group scored at or below that level. Because the percentile ranks are so easily understood, the parent-caregiver letter, available with the Bot2 Assist scoring software, uses the percentile rank to communicate performance. The BOT2 also provides descriptive categories as a means to characterize performance. There are 5 descriptive levels: well below average, average, above average, and well above average. Each descriptive category represents a range of performance, making them best suited to a broad characterization of performance. Because these terms are very common, descriptive categories are particularly useful when sharing test results with parents. It is important to recognize that all scores are imperfect estimates of an individual's true level of functioning. Random and unpredictable sources of error, which can be attributed to the inconsistency of human behavior, result in scores that are less than perfect. The cumulative effect of these random sources of error is summarized by the reliability statistic. The reliability statistic can be used to generate a range around an individual's observed score. That range is called a confidence interval. The BOT2 provides 90 and 95% confidence intervals that, when applied to scale scores and standard scores, provide the score range in which an individual's true score falls. The score profile report is a particularly effective way to illustrate individual strengths and weaknesses. Peaks and valleys are readily recognized and translated into strengths and weaknesses. Used in conjunction with the normal curve, it becomes rather easy to see where an individual's proficiency falls in comparison to the norm group. For practitioners or researchers interested in a more in-depth analysis of an individual's pattern of scores, the BOT2 provides ways to statistically compare scores between motor area composites and the subtest pairs within each motor area composite. The pairwise comparison section of the BOT2 record form is used to make statistical comparisons between scores. In this illustration, the body coordination standard score is compared to the strength and agility standard score. First, the difference between each score is computed. Then, that value is compared to the values found in Table C8 in Appendix C. If the difference exceeds the values in the table, then the scores can be considered statistically different. A statistically significant difference is a reliable difference, which means you can be confident that the individual's true motor proficiency is different in these areas. For this individual, the difference exceeds the value corresponding to 5%, which means you can be 95% confident that a true difference exists. Differences in proficiency across the 4 motor areas are relatively common in the norm population. Even differences that are statistically significant sometimes occur frequently. When this happens, the difference, although reliable, may not be clinically meaningful. The BOT2 manual provides tables that show the size of differences that occur less than 10%, 5%, or 1% of the time in the norm sample. For example, a difference of 9 standard score points between body coordination and strength and agility is smaller than the value in the table corresponding to 10%, which means that a difference this size occurred more frequently than 10% of the time in the norm sample. It is therefore reasonable to conclude that while the difference is significant, it is not uncommon in the population. By taking advantage of all the reporting and interpretive features of the BOT2, you will develop a greater understanding of your client's motor proficiency and deficits, and you will be able to better tailor intervention plans to each individual's needs. The BOT2 Assist scoring and reporting software offers a fast and efficient alternative to hand scoring that is unlimited in use, provides a wealth of scoring information, and offers the ability to both import and export data. Examinee information can either be entered manually or by importing a list of examinee data from another application. Entering BOT2 scores is quick and easy, as is transforming the raw scores into detailed reports providing derived scores, score profiles, motor skill strengths and weaknesses, and narrative reports. The Assist software, which can be used with both the complete form and short form, conveniently offers 2 score entry options: item raw score entry or subtest point score entry. When choosing item raw score entry, you do not need to convert item raw scores to point scores or calculate subtest total point scores. Simply enter each item raw score that you recorded on the BOT2 record form into the Assist software program, one subtest at a time. After the item raw scores for a given subtest have been entered, the Assist software will check for any out-of-range or missing scores, verify the entered raw scores for accuracy, and then generate and display the subtest total point score. When opting for subtest total point score entry, follow the simple steps outlined in the BOT2 manual to convert item raw scores to point scores to subtest total point scores. Then enter each subtest total point score into the Assist software. Whichever score entry method is chosen, once the total point score for each subtest has been calculated and saved, generating a detailed and useful score report takes just a few more clicks. First, choose the sections you would like to include in the report. The BOT2 Assist offers the following report sections, most of which can be selected or deselected at your discretion. Cover page. This page provides basic information about the examinee, the examiner, and the BOT2 testing session. The cover page is included in every report. Motor score summary. This page represents in tabular form the raw and derived scores for the subtests, motor area composites, and total motor composite. Scale scores, standard scores, confidence intervals, percentile ranks, age equivalents, and descriptive categories are all provided, aiding the clinician in evaluating and communicating an examinee's motor skill abilities. The motor score summary page is included in every report. Composite pairwise comparisons and subtest pairwise comparisons. These sections compare the examinee's motor area composite standard scores and subtest scale scores, investigating score differences and determining the statistical significance and frequency of occurrence of any differences. Subtest pairwise comparisons compare the scale scores of subtests within a motor area composite. It is also possible to make a limited number of pairwise comparisons between subtests from different motor area composites. As many as 3 across-composite subtest pairwise comparisons can be specified, allowing you to design comparisons that suit each examinee. The information found in the composite and subtest comparison sections provides valuable information about an examinee's motor strengths and weaknesses, allowing the clinician to better address and communicate each examinee's needs. Score profile. This graphical profile presents scale scores and confidence intervals for subtests, and standard scores and confidence intervals for motor area composites and the total motor composite. This section also includes a normal curve. Narrative report. This section describes the examinee's results in a narrative format. Narrative statements are generated based on the subtest scale scores, the motor area composite, and total motor composite standard scores, and the examinee's demographic data. Parent-caregiver letter. This summary of the examinee's BOT2 results is designed to be given directly to the examinee's parent or caregiver and provides the clinician with an additional tool for communicating test results. After selecting the sections to include in the score report, your customized BOT2 report is saved as either a PDF or RTF file and can then be printed out in full at any time or cut and pasted into your own report format. In addition, examinee information and scores can be exported to a text file that can be viewed and edited by many word processing, spreadsheet, or database programs.